an introduction to our restoration strategy for family and life services, an overview of the plan. A presentation from Plan Council Ontario Family and Life Services Committee. The true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. Gandhi. Here's our plan for children and youth services. Our Family and Life Services Restoration Plan includes restructuring, renovation, removal, and renewal to the current social service structure by removing programs and incentives that encourage poverty, loneliness, insecurity, and separation of family, and replacing them with more life-supporting programs. Reframing Child Protective Services, Youth Protection and Employment, Family and Welfare Services, Abused People Support, Senior Care Services, Special Needs, Unemployment, and Affordable Housing Services. We'd like to start by overhauling Child Protective Services, changing policies and procedures currently in place, moving to a family-based temporary foster care only in case of direct child endangerment. Otherwise, focus on helping transform and heal in the home, focused on working with the whole family to improve the situation. Lose the institutional setup. Move child services to renovated private homes. All services connected will be represented in each location, like peacekeepers or security, health and wellness assessment for triage purposes only, child care specialists for physical, mental, emotional, spiritual well-being, extra immediate care and support for any child who was abused, a box full of toys. Safety rooms, support group coordinators, all under one roof, so that it feels more like a visit to an auntie's house instead of CPS. Making sure we have extra clothes, backpacks, suitcases, basic essentials, all ready to hand out if needed. New standard operating procedures will include compassion, communication, consideration, and cooperation. The new goal for Child and Family Services will be to support struggling families on all levels with intensive programs designed to free them from the system permanently, supporting families where they need the most help until they don't need our help anymore. This will include marriage counseling, parenting courses, nursing, at-home care support, autism and care support, light housekeeping, daycare and babysitting, paid date nights, food prep, transport to school, doctors, self-awareness and improvement programs, stress reduction, focusing on keeping the family together, not tearing it apart, and keeping it apart. This counseling and support could include extended family and friends. We would like to redirect the foster care program to focus on family and friend support first, keeping kids with people they already know and love, while entire family gets help directed towards reunion with family for children who need to be removed from the home for their safety, with temporary separation as the main goal. Backpack and suitcase programs, a new suitcase for any child, teen, or person fleeing domestic violence or abuse situations or home insecurity. These backpacks or suitcases will be loaded with basic essentials, socks, clothes, hygiene products, including backpack programs for school items and essential living items for homeless or those in transit between homes. Build super secure tiny home communities for people fleeing from family abuse or domestic violence situations. Have peace officers living in the building to ensure 24-hour security, offering personal private sanctuary with some temporary and other permanent housing options. Dedicate funding and incentives for tiny home communities, focusing on affordability and safety. Set up training and co-op programs for those who love to build stuff. Create tiny community programs and incentives to bring tiny home communities to the areas people want to live. This can include retraining and cooperative efforts for all skill sets, abilities, talents, and interests. Greater support and incentive programs for single moms and dads, including childcare, parenting programs, and parenting clubs, as well as grief counseling, financial counseling, and family-oriented community programs. Increase support and funding for teen programs, including retraining, refocus, treatment programs, peer counseling, service clubs, community-oriented activities, weekly community dances, getaways and wilderness training, leadership and entrepreneur training, teen pregnancy support, parenting programs, and independence initiatives. One of the ideas is a Teen Mall Initiative program. Malls are wasted real estate after the store closes. Many teens in foster programs get no support or resources after their 18th birthday. Our proposal is to offer semi-independent living with the focus on retail projects and usable skills, using old, rundown, or closed malls to renovate for sustainable community living for teens, create living quarters in the rear of each store with storefronts focused on selling products chosen or made by the teens, provide community parents to live 24-hour option, targeting teens and in-child family care already. Closely with social workers, have teens form their own mall security, counseling, PA system for community radio, and work on community eating arrangements. More funding and support for all special needs kids and the people who help them. More funding and support for all special needs activities and programs, again, most especially for the people who help to support them, including date nights, training, and companionship, so that children with disabilities can thrive with the rest of the children. Incentive programs for opening pass-it-on stores for kids, all product received by donations, all items under $5, with proceeds going to community programs like dances, block parties, or being divided among the single parents in that community. Our society needs people to take care of the elderly, who know how to be compassionate and honest. Society needs all kinds of people with all kinds of skills, not just smarts, for humans have emotional needs, requiring emotional connection. Most of all, here's our plan for seniors. We'd like to help support families with seniors by creating programs like home renovations to move elderly relatives into family homes, create greater funding and support for all at-home services and at-home care programs, create wisdom sharing clubs, multi-generational history, talent, and skill clubs, companionship programs for dancing, travel, at home, exercise, dinner parties, theater, movie, museum, tourism, and nights out for seniors or for the people who care for them. Senior care can include more personal care programs, adopt a grandparent or a grandkid program, greater funding for all community centers running senior programs, fund a mini bus project to offer free transport to all appointments, including doctors, dentists, etc. Compassion support for families with seniors, including home companionship, overnight care, security care, transportation, entertainment, light housekeeping, food preparation, and dining companions. Create incentive programs for all museums, art galleries, movie theaters, tourism, concerts, tournaments, and dining establishments, offering senior-friendly programs and prices, affordable senior getaways, incentives for spas, and wellness programs focusing on senior care. Minibus programs for free transport to all appointments for seniors, kids, and families. Community restaurants and incentives to any restaurant with a selection of food sold for $1. Incentives for eliminating food scarcity in conjunction with Life Force Essentials Card. Teen to senior technology training, pairing teens in the know with seniors in need of technology support and app understanding. Funding and incentives for renovations to accommodate senior parents for family. Incentives for seniors to travel, and travel clubs, senior getaways, and senior companion programs. Incentives for landscaping and handyman programs for seniors and those unable to maintain their property. Companions for landscaping for those who enjoy gardening but suffer from lack of companionship. Better support for grieving families, including counseling, healing, and emotional support. Incentives for all communities participating in community snow shoveling programs. Incentives for communities to have a car guy program, plumbing guy, electrician guy clubs, connecting retired professionals in auto and home repair enthusiasts together with people in need of dependable services. Great for all ages with no knowledge or experience in these areas. A plan for restoration of Indigenous support, heritage appreciation, home improvement, cultural support, and community programs. Double all existing funding for Indigenous housing and community improvement programs with the focus on reducing overcrowding. Greater funding for Indigenous celebrations, community centers, community gatherings, community arts, and community programs, and learning and sharing traditional teachings. Greater funding for Indigenous sports, Indigenous arts, Indigenous dance, Indigenous peoples. More to come on this front. Our plan for cultural awareness, arts, and celebration, enhancing the enjoyment of life. Incentive and greater funding for the arts, culture, celebration, and community. Greater funding for all art programs, incentives for artists and artist support, including music, drama, dance, literature, sculpture, photography, visual art and painting, and sculpture. Offer incentives for community music festivals and local talent nights, artist breakfasts, and retreat programs, funding community art galleries and theaters. Hold a Who Throws the Best Block Party contest. Offer incentives for community block parties, dances, and community festivals. More funding for creative interactive museums and libraries, Tales for Tots programs, Mommy, Daddy, and Me programs, teen mystery clubs, comic book clubs, book nights, D&D clubs, game nights, and movie nights. Greater funding and incentive for community picnics, block parties, cultural cookouts, and cultural awareness programs. A community fruit tree program for any community wishing to grow and share community fruit. Training and co-op programs for those who love to bake and cook, create tiny community programs and incentives bringing tiny home communities to the areas where people want to live. A restoration plan for the homeless. Homeless people are not socially inadequate. They are simply people without homes. Our home and insecurity, transitional housing, affordable housing, and homeless support plan is to bring the services to where the people are with backpack programs and foot care programs. Send food trucks and barber trucks to where the people are and start shower truck, clothing truck, shoe truck, and dentist truck programs. Build more tiny home communities. Assessing why homeless and what is needed. Begin a program for traveling shower trucks, clothing, shoe, doctor, and dentist trucks. Make more tiny home communities dedicated to improving affordable living conditions in desirable locations, including renovation and repurposing of old government buildings, repossessed buildings, and abandoned lots. Caring can be learned by all human beings. It can be worked into the design of every life, meeting the needs of both the individual and the society. MC Bateson. And that is our restoration plan for family and life services from the Ontario Council and Committee for Family Services. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, compassionate, dedicated people can change the world, for indeed it is the only thing that ever has.